7 p.m. When it's backwards, it's hard to tell. 7 p.m. Live from the Galleywinter Facebook page. Give it a second, see who all is going to join us this evening before we commence to picking and grinning. And we'll tune the guitar. I see you coming on. Coming on. Some Josh Grider trivia. I think I failed the very first school vision test I ever took. I did not pass. So I got glasses in the first grade. And I wore glasses until I got contacts in the 5th grade, which were those old hard contacts. They had soft contacts, but my dad was a hard contact wearer. So I got those hard contacts and they would like literally fall out of my eye in school. And then I got soft contacts and I wore contacts till I was 21, and then I got LASIK and it worked. Well, I got it twice in my right eye, once in my left eye. And it worked, and I didn't have to wear any corrective lenses for about 3 or 4 years, and then it started slowly regressing. So I'm back, and I wear contacts. Glasses at night, of course, when I drive, because I got pretty bad halos from the surgery. So, all that to say, I don't see great. Of all my superpowers, vision is not one of them. So if you see me easing up on the screen, it's just to see what you might have said. Hello, waves. Brad Beheeler is watching. Brad Beheeler is the reason that I am here and that I know about Galleywinter. And he's done so much for so many of us. Waving the flag and writing reviews and writing articles. The first article that Brad wrote about me was when my self-titled Josh Grider band record came out in 2005. And he wrote this great review of it and stuff, and my parents read it. I loved it so much because it validated what I was doing so much to them, because I got this great review. And I didn't tell him for a long time that I actually knew Brad personally, and that he was a vested fan. I wanted him to believe that it was that was one step away from the Rolling Stone reviewing my first record. All right, everybody's logging on. How are you? Gangsters of Galleywinter. Like I was just saying, I've had a long run with Galleywinter, many years to come as well, I believe. So my pleasure to come and take over the Facebook page tonight and sing y'all some songs. I was thinking, we've kind of done the online concert. We're like a month into this thing, and everybody's done them and done them again and done them again and done them again, and so now everybody's finding themes and playing records and doing all this. And so I thought maybe tonight I would just take you, I would sort of give you my version of my story, how I got to this exact seat right here, kind of from the get-go to now, because it's not always been that clear. I haven't had the greatest publicity teams just because of funds, and my star has never risen to the point where that built-in infrastructure and the stories told. I'm pretty sure I don't have a Wikipedia page to go and kind of get the official story of Josh Grider, and the bios always seem to be based around the most recent record or whatever. But for lack of a better term, I thought maybe I would give you, from the horse's mouth, my story. I did an interview, and this wasn't very many years ago, with somebody, and they said, well, we tried to do some research, but we couldn't really find anything out about you other than kind of the press we were sent for this latest record. And that's true. I don't know. I'm fairly guarded by nature, I guess, and as will this telling, I'm sure, of my history, but I thought maybe it would be fun to start. So, as many of you know, I'm from the great state of New Mexico, born and raised on country music from my dad, and came up, was high school in the 90s, late 90s, and so the Garth and that 90s country thing was it's just in my musical DNA, period, the end. And so that was what I did. I got the Garth Brooks guitar. And it is not, of course, immediately. Where is that guitar? The Garth Brooks signature Takamine. I got it for my senior year. I got it for graduation, and I brought it to Baylor. I went to college in Waco, and I was so proud of that guitar And then the summer before my freshman year at Baylor, I went to Lukenbach for Willie Nelson's 4th of July picnic, and I started getting those first taste of the independent Texas country scene, and I was beginning to gather that they were not very fond of Nashville and not very fond of, you know, mainstream country, which is what I'd been born and raised on. And I had this brand new Takamine Garth Brooks guitar, and there were actually moments in the late 90s, early 2000s where Nashville, I mean, there was the Nashville Sucks shirts, Garth Brooks Sucks chants would come on at concerts, crowds would be yelling and stuff, and here I have this guitar, and I was so proud of it, and then immediately somehow ashamed or confused, like oh no, these people are gonna hate me, all I want to do is play. But I got to Texas and I started a band, and we were called Riverside, and we were in Waco, and we were not a country band necessarily, we were because I was singing, but we started writing songs and playing in the local bars and college parties and stuff, and I really got my first taste of gigging and playing, and we got to open for Pat Green a couple of times, which was a big deal. In 1999, if you could score that Pat Green opening slot at Stephenville City Limits, lost a transmission on the way to that gig. That was a big deal. So we thought we were pretty hot stuff there for a few years in Waco. And of all those songs that we did, and that's when I met Brad. This is the only one that's held on that I still play from back in those days that I'll find on the set list today. And it's really one of the first songs I wrote, start to finish, about going down to Mexico. And it's called South of the Border because I grew up down on the border at Las Cruces, and going down to Juarez was a thing that me and some of my compadres, probably my compadres more than me, but I heard the stories and I did it myself a time or two and came up with a song, and I still play it. So I know you tuned in for songs, so I should shut up and play a song. Ha! It's still got this riff that's almost impossible. I'll try one more time. That's a pretty good version. You'll hear the Robert Earl Keen in this. If you think of I'll let the secret out, I mean, you probably know anyway, but if you think of that song, it's only you for me, just like that whooping crane who has one wife for all his life, and if she dies he'll do the same. Yeah. Sorry Robert Earl. I watched the Rio Grande roll on by ever since I was a little bitty child. I heard about easy living down in old Juarez. Yeah, mama said I was too young to be that wild. So Friday night I'd sneak out of my back door and I'd meet up with the boys down on Main. We'd run like bandits heading for the border, praying to God we'd be home by the break of day. And we'd head south of the border, drinking, dancing every time. Went across the river, I'd leave my blues behind. South of the border, heading down to Juarez, Mexico, drinking margaritas and dancing with senoritas. Yeah, loving it like you never let it go. I've been gone, yeah, it feels like so long, out on the highway just trying to figure my way out. I get so tired of running all the time, I wanna head south where they know what life's about. So take me south of the border, drinking, dancing every time. Went across the river, I'd leave my blues behind. South of the border, heading down to Juarez, Mexico, drinking margaritas and dancing with senoritas. Yeah, loving it like you'll never let it go. Boys, and if you go that way, be sure you take no sway. He'll make the federales let you come back home. So yeah, I was listening to Texas country, my first Texas country songs, and that's the stuff that I was writing. That was the best of my imitating the Texas country thing at the time song, and it's held on for all these years. But we played in college, and I knew from being a little kid that this is all I ever wanted to do was play music, and the music would be the goal of my life. So we finished college, and I met Christy in college, and met while we were Riverside and playing, met Wade Bowen, met Randy Rogers, met some of these guys. Everybody's kind of just starting their careers. Pat and Corey Morrill were kind of the things everybody was shooting for. Cross Canyon Ragweed, of course, was kind of taking off then. Everybody's playing Taylor guitars like Pat Green for a while, and then everybody started playing PRS electric guitars like Cody Canada in the early 2000s. And I still had my Takamine, my Garth Brooks Takamine, trying to fit in. But we moved to Austin. The Riverside thing kind of found its end, and I started my first band, which was the first Josh Grider band, the first Josh Grider thing, and it was me, Chris Farrow, who I'd met in Waco. He'd moved to Waco from New York to play with a guy named Jeremy Scott Eccles, but Chris Farrow was in the band. Josh Stumpf was playing drums, who was a holdover from the Riverside days, and Seth Allen, holdover from Riverside, was playing bass. And we all moved there and made the first Josh Grider band record. Now, that song I just played was on a live record and a studio record that we did in Waco as Riverside, and then of course I put it on my first solo project because it was kind of the best song I had for a long time. And we made the Josh Grider band record at Cedar Creek in Austin. I wanted to do it. That's what everybody was cutting at Cedar Creek with Lloyd Maines producing and Adam Motor engineering. I could only afford 2 out of the 3, which was Cedar Creek and Adam Motor. I've yet to have anything produced by Lloyd, which I'd love to do one of these days. But I went there. I had a pocket full of songs. I took my band in there. We were all pretty green, but we came up with some good ideas, and I still sell that record at shows, so I think it still holds up. It's an accurate documentation of what we were doing. Living in Austin, trying to get a booking agent, worked with KB Talent, which was at the time Ricky Brown and Bruce Kalmick. Bruce Kalmick, of course, has gone on to do some pretty hotshot management stuff up in Nashville with some really big artists. Brandon Ryder was the big artist on that roster, and we had our little ragtag band, and it was right around that time living in Austin, so this is 2005-ish, 6-ish, and I meet Drew Kennedy, I meet Adam Hood, I meet Jason Eady, I meet these guys, and just we're all kind of managed and booked by the same little outfit there for a moment in time. And everybody's just trying to find their footing, get going, and there's just 100,000 reasons. It's funny to be where I am, and the reason that I kind of want to tell you this story is because I get it. They're like, why? People that see it, I'll go and do a band show, and there'll be 100 people show up, and people maybe scratch their heads and go, haven't you had all these number 1 songs? Like, why is this not more bigger than it is? And well, some nights it is, but some nights it isn't. It's definitely not a Wade Bowen and Randy Rogers kind of thing, But there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of reasons that I get, And we were always I just felt like always just left of this or right of that or ahead of this or behind that, trying to make it happen. And man, I've written songs about it and had therapy about it and everything else. And I'm cool with where I am. But at that point in the journey, I really wanted to do a Texas country record, and that record was as Texas country as I could make it. We did that. It ran its course. That band ran its course. The money ran out. We played that band, that entity played its last gig at San Angelo, opening for Darren Kozlowski on New Year's Eve. So this would probably have been New Year's Eve of 2005. We probably played that record, or maybe 2006, 2005. So there we are. I started playing acoustic. I'd met, like I said, Kennedy, Drew, and I had started playing some acoustic gigs together and this and that. And I'd written another handful of songs, and then I got introduced to Walt Wilkins, and I wanted Walt to produce a record. I I begged, borrowed, and stole some money to get Walt and Tim Lorsch, who he was working with at the time, to do this record. And we called it Million Miles to Go. And I went to Walt and I said, man, I'd like to do an acoustic record with you. It's something artsy. I'm kind of touring solo. And he's like, I think that sounds awesome. So I know a cellist who would do some strings, do this artsy cool thing. And I think I said that out of my mouth, but my heart knew that I wanted something different. I wanted another band record. And I just, Walt did the best he could with my completely kind of ADD. Well, yeah, but what about this? And we ended up getting the Mystic Arrows and some band songs on there. So it was kind of this half and half record, but a very Austin record, and it had a couple good songs. But it had the one song that really finally got radio's attention, especially thanks to Fort Worth and the Ranch. And it was a song called Crazy Like You. And I'm so forever grateful that Walt and the Mystic Arrows recorded that song with me, because it really helped. It sustained me through what would soon become a very confusing moment in the path of Josh Gradner. So anyway, this is Crazy Like You. Well, people sing songs all of the time about falling in love and losing their minds, but it ain't love driving folks mad. Well, it's living this life day in, day out, trying to figure out what it's all about. All the who's, wins, where's, the whys, and the maybes. And I said everybody's crazy, so what you need to do, you need to find somebody crazy like you. Someone that you can fuss and fight with, and when you make up, then you can love all night with. Someone who shares your particular point of view. Oh, they're bound to be crazy, just make sure they're crazy like you. So I looked high and low, I looked far and wide, before I looked in the mirror and I realized that I spent my time looking for the wrong thing. Yeah, perfect and sane would be so mundane. A man like me, I'm subject to change. I'm just looking for someone whose tracks fit my train. And I said everybody's crazy, so what you need to do, you need to find somebody crazy like you. Someone that you can fuss and fight with, and when you make up, then you can love all night with. Someone who shares your particular point of view. Oh, they're bound to be crazy, just make sure they're crazy like you. So I found me this girl, yeah, she's 5'4". I never found a girl that I don't know we are into and out of touch with all the same things. She's as wild and mean as the deep blue sea, pure and sweet as honey from a bee. And I love her to death, 'cause that girl's crazy just like me. And I said everybody's crazy, so what you need to do, you need to find somebody crazy like you. Someone that you can fuss and fight with, and when you make up, then you can love all night with. Someone who shares your particular point of view. Oh, they're bound to be crazy, just make sure they're crazy like you. And you're bound to be crazy, just make sure they're crazy like you. And they're crazy about you, all crazy for you. And that is Crazy Like You. So that was on my Million Miles to Go record. Put that out in 2007, spring of 2007, I believe. And that song, I didn't even have like a professional radio promoter necessarily on it. Mike Williams was my manager at the time, and he just sort of volunteered because we needed somebody to do radio. And I don't even think, I think it broke the top 10. It was not a number one, but like I said, the Ranch, man, they put it on one of those compilation records, and Had I known what I was doing, it's just, man, if you'd have known now or been able to see it, but there was, I'd had a good little momentum. I had a really great band with the Josh Grider band thing, and it just fell apart. I didn't understand how impatience is a problem that I have, really, and I thought it needed to happen faster than it was happening. And I didn't understand honestly the financial investment necessary to really make a run, and I didn't have a big backer. And I probably had opportunities to get one, but I was so debt averse that I just thought if I couldn't pay for it, then I couldn't necessarily do it. And that is not necessarily true. It takes a lot of money. And you gotta be smart with it, and you gotta be lucky, but just to keep the wheels going, it takes some money. So there we were. I'd done this half acoustic, half band record called Million Miles to Go. I'd solo written most of the songs. I'd co-written some of these songs with a friend of mine named Ryan Reese. Maybe one Drew Kennedy co-write. Yeah, we had one Drew Kennedy co-write on there. And I went out to tour it, and my bass player, Chris Grady, at the time, we tried to hire some guitar players. Chris Farrow had gone off to play with Mickey and the Motor Cars. And Chris, if you guys know Chris, is just a monster. He's a force of a guitar player. It's like three guys are playing guitar, and it's just him. And he was such a foundation, and we had started to sow these seeds, and people were the fans that I had built were used to this rocking band, and then I kind of was playing acoustic, and acoustic is acoustic, whatever. But then I kind of was putting a band back together and getting out, and I just didn't have the guitar player, and Chris had played on that whole record. And anyway, my bass player said, what, we should try a trio. This new record you got's kind of funky, it's kind of sparse, we could do it as a three-piece. We'll do upright bass, drums, guitar. I thought, man, I'm not a good enough guitar player, even close to do this. But we tried it. It was funky. The rhythm section was great. And I learned so much about how important a great rhythm section was. But that was the birth of the Josh Grider Trio. And then I spent the next 3.5, 4 years as a three-piece band, playing these funky arrangements. I did a couple records. I was living in Austin, and it sounds like I was living in Austin. It's this big hybrid mishmash, kind of more Americana, not Texas country, and not really country of any kind at all. My voice was still my voice, but it was just this really weird thing because I had this Texas country song, Crazy Like You, that was just working so well on the chart, and then I had this weird three-piece band, so I would get booked because of that song at a City Limits or something in Stephenville, and then I go in there and we're playing jazz and being funky, and I'm wearing like a derby hat. Like it was like the rebellious teenager, you see them, and I'm probably about to have them, and I was one at once, but it was my musical rebellion. People were like, you're a country singer, and you've had Texas country success, what are you doing? And the honest truth was I was having a blast. I loved that band. It was easy, we could afford it, and I had found some interest in a management group out of New York City, but truly I had, and at that point, again, my impatience, I was at a point where I felt like, I was looking left and looking right, and I was seeing these guys passing me up. I mean, Casey Donahue, I remember they called, and Ricky Brown called me and said, hey man, this guy named Casey Donahue wants to open for you. You're playing at Pootie's. You want to open for you at Pootie's? He doesn't even want any money. He just wants to chance to play. Yeah, sure, that's great. Casey who? Never heard. And then 2 years later, it's Casey Donahue, and he blows up, and now he's Casey Donahue. And the same for Josh. I have all these guys. I'm getting passed in the left lane by these guys going from the van to the bus to this, and I'm still in the van. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be doing country. Maybe that's not what it is. So we're doing this three-piece thing. And we did it for 3 years, and we tried hard. And we moved some people. When we were on. And musicians dug it. I think artists got it. But it just didn't translate to the fans. It's hard to shift gears and shift that fast, It wasn't like I had enough steam rolling as a Texas country act to do this side project thing. It was just me looking, just trying to find what worked, And so when the wheels kind of finally fell off the trio, it was when Jeff Botta left. There was no replacing Jeff Botta. We really were a band. It was me and Chris Grady and Jeff Botta, and that was just. It couldn't be any other three guys to pull off what that was that we were doing. We recorded together, and when that was over, it was over, and I was at another kind of crossroads. I went back, I was playing acoustic, and things got really dark for me, honestly. I was not a happy person, And Drew Kennedy, who's been through all this with me, will attest to that. I remember we'd ride in the car and I'd just bitch and bitch and bitch. And I was listening to a Dan Patrick show. I love Dan Patrick. And Howie Long got on there. And it was really, I'll never forget it. It just changed things for me. He said, he was talking about his Raiders, because he played for the Raiders. He said the Raiders have a losing mentality and they will not win. You can never win with a losing mentality. If you expect to lose, you're definitely going to lose. And I had a losing mentality. I wasn't expecting anybody to come to shows. I was fed up. I was just miserable. I was not happy. And that's when we moved to Nashville. Because that's the town that makes everybody happy. But I've been flirting with Nashville over the years, going up there. I found out about publishing deals. Drew had gotten a publishing deal, and I never heard of one. And I started to figure it out. And that was so telling, of the difference in Nashville and Texas. And there's so much less difference. But back then, publishing, what's publishing? I just had no idea. So I wanted to go to Nashville and get a songwriting deal published. So we were living in Kerrville. We had JJ, and we said, let's go to Nashville. Christy signed off on it, and we packed a U-Haul, and we drove to Nashville, and we lost one car on the way. The engine just blew up in the van I'd been driving through all those other years. And we got to Nashville with enough money to live for 3 months, if nothing happened, and nothing happened. So after that, I started working part-time for this demolition company. I'd drive to Memphis and meet them up, and we go, and it was some trying times indeed. And on those drives to Memphis, I wrote this song. And here I am, a young father. I've just moved my family to Tennessee, to Nashville. I'm leaving. I didn't really want to work in a bar, just being married, and it just didn't feel right. Uber wasn't a thing yet, so anyway, I ended up with this demolition crew for this very sweet family in Mississippi that they knew what I was doing. They were fans. That's where I got the Honey Badger. I played a gig for a Suburban for them one time. But they let me work a week on. I go a week off. I go back to Nashville. I go co-writes, take meetings, try and get the thing rolling there. But during that time, I wrote this song, and now we're talking 2010, 11. And the company the country is still recovering from the big crash in 2008, and so not just for me, but things were hard all over, I think, for people. And I wrote this song called "The Price of the Dream," and that definitely epitomizes that time in our lives. I don't play this song loud, I need a car, tell me what you got. Need something runs good and don't cost a lot. 'Cause I got a job working out of town, and $1,000 I put down. There's just no work here anymore. They say shut the factory door. They bailed out Detroit, forgot about me. So I had to take this job up in Tennessee. And the price of the dream is getting high. So I go to Memphis on Sunday night. I leave my children, I leave my wife, and I go to Memphis on Sunday night. Yeah, I gotta go to Memphis every Sunday night. We still got our house, but we're barely hanging on. So this job is a good thing, I just hate that I gotta be gone. 'Cause babies need her daddy, mama needs her man. I come back just as fast as I can. All the price of the dream is getting high. So I go to Memphis on Sunday night. I leave my children and I leave my wife. Yeah. Politicians all promise change. Everything just stays the same. I trade 2 days at home from 5 to 10 away. I'm gonna miss Halloween. That's true. I was in Memphis on Halloween, probably 2012, 2011. Christy sent me a picture of her and JJ trick-or-treating in this neighborhood that we weren't familiar with, didn't really have any friends in there, but damn, if she wasn't going to take her little boy out trick-or-treating, she was Catwoman, he was Batman. And man, it broke my heart to get that picture. That was a big inspiration in the song. Yeah, I'm gonna miss Halloween. I'm gonna miss Thanksgiving. Well, they'll have costumes and pumpkin pie. Yeah, gotta go to Memphis on Sunday night. You do what you gotta do to survive. So me, I'll ride to Memphis on Sunday night. There's work up in Memphis, I leave Sunday night. So mister, I need to call what you got. Woo! Man. All based on actual events. Man, that's crazy. That song puts me somewhere. So there we are in Nashville trying to figure out up from down. And bear in mind, I moved to Nashville because I just was ready to write. You know, I didn't care about fame or the spotlight. I don't know that I ever really have, other than maybe when I was a teenager. I thought it'd be cool to be Garth Brooks and fly around the stadium. I love playing for people, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like I need that. And when I got turned on to songwriters, man, I just slowly and surely just fell in love with the art of writing and just thought how cool it would be to have, you know, a major artist cut one of my songs. And I've been chasing that for years and years. You know, but playing gigs all the way because I do love playing. I love the fans and the friends I've made in this business and playing. But I'm up there trying to write and not too worried about being an artist. And then I win a contest to record a live at Billy Bob's record, due large in part to Radio Free Texas. The Billy Bob's decides to do this contest. Radio stations nominate bands. I got nominated by Radio Free Texas, which is actually an online station, but they nominate me based on a really amazing night we had with the trio down here in New Braunfels. But the trio was kind of done, you know, and so I got this out. They said I was nominated, and I thought, man, I've just moved away. I'm trying to start something different. I don't even know if I want to do this. And, you know, I consulted with some people that are like, you should do it. Keep any publicity, you know, you probably won't win. Who knows? Well, we end up winning the dang thing, which is amazing. And I thank anybody that's still around that voted for us to win that. So we win that. We go back. We make a record. And this is just after we've moved to Nashville. And so I'm making trips back, trying to finish up this record. You know, it's 11. I've written that song because I've been traveling and starving in Nashville and, you know, just barely making it. And I was back and doing one of Justin Frizzell's shows, the Sunday night show, and Wade Bowen was on it. And I played that song. And Wade goes, man, that's your song? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, dang, man, I can tell you're writing and working at it, like getting better or whatever. He goes, I want to put you in touch with my manager. So he did. And his manager was in Nashville at the time, Scott Kernahan. So he sets me up with Scott Kernahan. Well, little to my knowledge, Scott has partnered with Howie Edelman, which is, you know, Roger Craig, Cody Johnson management, and Tim Dubois, if you don't know who he is, Google it. I could spend the whole hour talking about Tim Dubois. And they have partnered to form this new company. And he goes, I think you might be perfect. You got a little history in Texas, but we think, you know, we want to sign these guys. We want people that have kind of know their way around the stage, not just totally green, you know, but we think have also commercial appeal, you know, maybe outside of Texas, yada yada, music business stuff. Okay, cool, yeah, man, this sounds exciting. This is my first really anything going right for me, and I end up getting signed to that, signed to what became my first publishing deal, and it was really, you know, it was my publishing and record deal was kind of all rolled into one, and man, that changed things. I didn't have to drive to Memphis anymore. We're finally getting a little check coming in, finding our way. That Billy Bob's record came out, so I was going back and touring a little bit. I get signed with this label, and they're very interested in growing Texas numbers. And signed to this label is me, Wade is signed to it, Cody Johnson was signed to it, Roger Krager signed to it, Matt Caldwell's girl group called Michaelis, and maybe somebody else. But that was the main was us. Anyway, and they're wanting me to go back to Texas, build up my numbers so we can make a record, and then we'll take it to the majors. We're going to go, you're going to get your shot, we're going to get your push, you're going to get to go and play and see if we could sign the big deal and do the big thing. Because at this point, I'm writing country music again. I'm writing commercial stuff again, you know, and I'm kind of realizing that that's where my heart has always been, despite my left turns and right turns. I'm comfortable writing commercial country-esque music. So the single off that Billy Bob's record was definitely, I think, a marker as a pivotal point in my career. It was a song called Slow. It was my first song back on the Texas radio charts, got up in the top 10. It's how I met Dawn Gardine, who was my promoter, and got her hired with the label that we were working with, and we went on a run of like 7 number ones after this. This was a top 10, but once I started cutting those records on him. But I did this song called Slow, which was about as far from the Josh Greider trio sounding stuff as you could have possibly done. I cut it with a Nashville band. It's funny, I cut it. Rachel King played bass on it, and I wrote a song with Rachel King yesterday. So I'm still, oh my God, this is it. Rachel just maybe she's watching this because she just texted me. Anyway, it was a turning point. I finally got signed, and I thought things were looking up. Things were better than they'd ever been for me in my career. And I was learning how the publishing world writes and really getting turned on to Nashville in the inside way, not the outsider, not the standing in a crowd in Lukenbach yelling Nashville sucks and not knowing at all what I was talking about. But I was in that city, and I was falling in love with it, and falling in love with the idea of writing songs and just getting new heroes every day. I'd write with these guys that were behind just some major songs. And anyway, I wrote this. It's called Slow, and it was on that Billy Bob's record. Well, Monday morning I wake up, Friday on my mind, and I hit the ground running from sun up to quitting time. I race across town just to pick you up. Friday night can't get you fast enough. We take it slow, creeping down a back road slow, watching the sun go down with my arm around you. Love song coming on strong through the stereo slow, sipping on a bottle of red slow, dancing in a truck bed with nothing between us but the night air, letting it all go. Slow. This ain't right now world we're living in, and all I want right now is you. We could have a plane to Vegas, roll the dice and say I do. Get a 2-bit bass shotgun, shack a baby on with a dog out back. We could just stay right where we're at, taking it slow, creeping down a back road slow, watching the sun go down with my arm around my arm around you. The song coming on strong through the stereo, slow, sipping on a bottle of red snow, dancing in a truck, baby, nothing between us but the cool night air, letting it all go. It's slow. Yeah. So I gotta be honest. That Billy Bob's record was made in a hurry. I haven't made a live record really, a band record since that record, and I want to do another one because the guys that played on that record did me such a solid by coming in and knuckling down and getting it done. But I just was not in a place in my career that I was able to pull off the best live record that I could have. And you live and you die with that sort of decision. But man, if I had a do-over on a record, it'd be a do-over on that Live at Billy Bob's. Just for some song selection stuff, just some decisions. And again, like so many things in my life, it's so much better than it is a bad thing. And I don't want to seem ungrateful or anything like that. But between us, between me and the 54 people watching this and whoever might watch it in perpetuity, that'd have been. I wish we could have redone some stuff on that deal, but it was in a hurry. It was an honor to win, and I have a Live at Billy Bob's record, so that's pretty cool. So anyway, I got signed to that label, and along with getting signed to that label, what they thought was going to be a really big deal was this TV show. They had TV partners here in Texas, and there was this TV show called Troubadour Texas. There was going to be an inside the scenes look at what it is, the up and coming yada yada, and that's great. I mean, I was excited to be a part of that as well. I was a little. The show didn't work. It never got slotted really well, and it looked really good. They struggled with content. They didn't get, in my opinion, gritty enough. I think they could have gotten a little more grease of what's going on. It was a little bit whitewashed, But it was what it was, and it was getting us some exposure. And like I said, I was having success on the radio, living in Nashville, writing during the week, leaving for gigs on the weekend. I had a Texas band. I had a van. I would park it, my van and trailer. I rented a space at a storage unit directly across from Austin Bergstrom. So I would fly to Austin, go get the van, and I would drive and pick up the guys. And then we would head out for the weekend play, go back, park it at the Austin Bergstrom. Sometimes I'd walk from that storage unit over to the airport, fly back to Tennessee. So we're in this rhythm. We make that EP. I meet Trent Willman. Trent Willman produces both of these records for me. Love Trent to death still, just a very dear friend. So happy for him and all his success with Cody. So we do those, we're rocking, we're trying to do it. It's a label without a ton of cash flow or the desire to spend a lot of cash. At the same time, on kind of this sister label, I'm meeting Zane Williams, Kylie Ray, rest in peace. That's when I met Kylie. And everybody's kind of doing their thing, trying to get going. Of all of those stories, Cody Johnson is by far the biggest success story, and he was set to just take off like a rocket anyway. He was further ahead than all of us as far as that crowd development. People just absolutely loved him and were filling up. But we would definitely go out and play. I remember playing in Nacogdoches. His band backed me. They would send us out as a package, and those guys would back us, and then of course play for Cody. But I mean, it went 200 people, and now he's selling out the rodeo. That's been an incredible ride to watch, and I think Cody deserves everything he's got. And I'm a number one fan. If you have a problem with Cody, I will take it up with you because I love that guy, and I'm super proud of him. But we're in that. We do that EP. They say this is just to pad it up. We're going to do this record. This record is going to be the record that we go. We're going to take it. It's going to, So I said, cool. I'm writing pretty commercial, and I made some, really commercial decisions on Luck. Not that commercial. I opened the song with this ballad with Luck and Desire personified. Like, it wasn't that commercial, but it was by far the most commercial country thing I'd ever done, and it sounds great, and I stand by it. I still play a lot of those songs. And we had 3 number ones off that Getting There EP, which we just put out in a hurry, which was awesome. And then we took our time and did that record. Luck and Desire came out, but before it came out, we had been getting back. I'd signed with Paradigm Booking, and we were coming back to Texas so much, and then we're pregnant again, and it just did not make sense. It was killing me. The commute was killing me, and I decided that the reverse commute would be a lot easier, to just be in Texas where the gigs and the work were and the money was, and I could fly back to Tennessee and write, And I lived with that decision my whole life, because as I live and breathe, as I sit here and talk to you right now, songwriting is still it just burns me up, and I love it. And the idea of the publishing deal and the being a hit songwriter, that is an elusive dream, and maybe forever elusive. The times have just changed so much. It's a completely different world. Even from when even 10 years ago, but from, the really halcyon days of the writers and the way that Nashville worked, it's just a different deal. It's not impossible. Nothing's impossible. But we moved back. We're beating up the road, playing a bunch, and trying to ride the success of that. But then after White Van was the first single off Luck and Desire, which I said, okay, everybody thought, man, it's cool, it's unique, it will get going. All right, cool. Came time for the second single, and we had a couple on the block, and the record was not doing as good as we wanted. Sales were not as good. But my day-to-day manager was fired the day the record came out by the label, which should have been a warning sign. We did get one more single. We ended up going with One Night Taco Stand, which I'm glad we did. That song has been so good to me. I've sold so many One Night Taco Stand t-shirts. But that record had so much more meat on it. I felt like White Van and One Night Taco Stand were the most sort of kitschy, ditty sort of songs on that record. And there are some great songs on that record. You can go listen to it today if you want to. But we did that record, and the label folded again. Money starts getting thin, running out. But thank God I'm back in Texas. Me and Drew and Walt and Kelly and Susan have started this festival in Red River that's working. I'm getting more opportunities in house concert world. I'm still going to Nashville, writing all the time. I end up signing another publishing deal, and I'm still just commuting and writing. And it came time I needed to do a record again. So I said, all right, I'm gonna partner with my buddy who I've written all these great songs with, Bobby Hamrick, and I crowdfunded a record, and it was the Good People record. And so we raised, not a huge sum of money, but a huge sum of money for me, to dump into that record, and some publicity and some promotion. And we were back. We were in Texas. I was touring acoustic with the band some. I figured out that I didn't have to have a band necessarily all the time, because of the acoustic and solo opportunities I was being given. Me and Drew, of course, playing our shows, the Red River thing. And I crowdfunded it, made Good People. That came out in 2018. And we started had my first number one in a long time off that, which was a song called Good People, which I should play. You swear we were living in the wild, wild west. You spend enough time in front of your TV set, and a stranger will change a tire on the side of the road in a pouring rain. There's a neighbor you can always call for a favor anytime, night or day. And still good people in the world, still good people in the world. I know a few, how many you do too, even if they don't make the evening news. Still good people, a lot of good people, still good people in this old world. Hey, we're all just swimming in one big melting pot. Things are bound to get stirred up and get a little hot. By and large, most folks get by, making money, making love, just trying to survive. A few bad apples don't mean you gotta give up on the whole dang tree. There's still good people in still good people in the world. I know carburetor, helping hands when you need them most. The big old hearts just keeping us afloat. They send up prayers, cold feed us, Mother Teresa's and sweet Jesus. Are there still good people in the world? Still good people in the world. Angels are flying in the right direction, hearts filled with the best intentions. Still good people, a lot of good people, still good people in this old world. This old world, I still believe. This old world, there's still good people, still good people, still good people, still good people. There's still good people, a lot of good people. Y'all are still good people in this old world. Yeah, that was the anchor for that record, good people, of course, title cut. But man, I love making that record. That sort of recentered me. I feel like that record crossed the balance. It reeled in some of that super commercial sound that we had on Luck and Desire. Of course, 4 years had passed in between those records, but I wanted to make a record that I could perform acoustically, cover to finish, just me and a guitar, and you wouldn't miss the production, but if you listened to the record or you heard the band play it, production would enhance things, but that everything would stand with just me and a guitar. And I think we really accomplished that with that record. And that record got me through, through 2018 and into 2019. In 2019, of course, me and Drew, we defined our relationship and we decided we were the Topo Chico Cowboys. And we were doing a lot of shows. He and I made a Live at Main Street Crossing record, and it was fun touring on that. And then of course we went in the studio and cut a couple of tunes. Man, I'm telling you that it is a small cast of characters that have been there the whole run, and of course closest to me of all those would be my brother Drew Kennedy. But Brad's been right there, man, a text away, a phone call away since 2004, and I appreciate that so much. And Jason and Adam and Jamie Lynn and just some of those cats, those deep cats, and those are the people I love and that I gravitate toward. And honestly, if I'm really honest, I've always, I want that approval from them. When I write songs, they're Walt. Walt looms heavy in my mind when I write songs. What would Walt think of this? And there are times where I have to turn that off and write goofy stuff, but cut to now, I'm sitting in New Braunfels, in the first house that we've been able to buy finally. I have a great band right now. I'm really in love with being back, kind of honky-tonkin', playing country music. It's where I started it, and it's where I've definitely wound back up. I still write all kinds of stuff, and getting into production, working with a guy right now named Gunnar Latham, and we're pushing the envelope on a couple things, which is really, really fun, really exciting for me. He's about 24 years old, and I just look at him and think, man, if I'd have had a me when I was your age, it's 1,000 wonders. It's easy to look back and wonder what would have been, and it's easy to look back and see your mistakes where you take major missteps. But if I'm honest, where I am right now, I've had some crazy adventures, and no, I don't have the big old bus, and no, I still have my fingers crossed some nights that we're going to have a decent crowd to play for. And I understand. I have a lot of understanding of why things are like that. And some people scratch their head, and maybe the last hour we've spent of me kind of explaining that I can be a little ADD, and I kind of want my cake and eat it too. I want to be a stay-at-home dad and songwriter and cook dinner for my family every night. And I want to be on the road playing shows all the time. And I want to be in Nashville, and I want to be in Texas, and I want to be all this stuff. But I don't know. I figured out a way to kind of make it all work for me and for us. This time we are in right now with this quarantine has been nuts. A lot of time for self-reflection, figuring out where you are, where you want to go, and I hope to be on the road more. I hope to be playing with my band kind of more than I have, because I just love the group of guys I got right now. James Hurtless, Chris Compton, and Brady Owen are just my brothers, and we've had a blast. If you've seen the latest incarnation of my live show, I think you'd attest to it being as good as it's ever been. And the songs are as good. I'm writing all the time. Like I said, me and Rachel wrote a great song yesterday, and writing with these young guys always is just so exciting. So I don't know. That's me. I'm Josh Grider. I love to write and sing country songs for whoever wants to listen. Any kind of song, really, but country fits me well. And it's been a long run with Galleywinter, and I certainly appreciate them a whole lot. I think I'll play this is show business. I gotta play you my latest single. Of course, in the career of Josh Grider, he would definitely release a single and then have all of his shows cancel and a global pandemic strike. Literally, we went for ads on March 6th, I think, and by about the next week, the whole entire world had shut down, and remains so. Nonetheless, the song is climbing the charts. Thank you, Tammy Millspaw, working this single for us, and I can't wait to get done. We got some cool shows on the books through the summer, and into late summer, so I think they'll hold. I think this stuff is going to start easing up. I pray that it does. Wherever you are, I hope you're healthy. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for hearing me ramble. It's been, we're talking a span of 15 years that I just condensed into 1 hour. So I could have spent an hour per year easy. It's been a wild ride, and for those of you that have been on from the beginning, I can't say how much I appreciate it. This song is it's just sort of it's full circle for this moment in my life. I was raised on 90s country, and I took my detours there in my late 20s and early 30s, but I'd say for most of my 30s and headed into my 40s, I'm firmly back in the cradle of country music. And this song is just poking a little bit of fun at the bandwagon folks. Maybe I am a bandwagon. Maybe I'm making fun of myself in this. Who knows? I wrote it with Jimmy Geary and Tim Nichols after talking to a music business guy who told me not to lose heart because country was coming back, and he knew I wrote country songs, and I had a chance still. Thank you, Mr. Music Executive. I never knew country actually left. And that was kind of the hook for this tune. So anyway, thank you guys very much. I think I'll sign off after this. If you got questions, hit me up. Follow me over on my page or whatever if you don't. And I hope I see all of you sooner than later. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Galleywinter. Love you. Back in the 90s, they had a jukebox. Man, it was fiddle and fiddle steel non-stop. Down in the honky-tonk, it was a different scene. No IPAs, no skinny jeans. Things are in and they're out. But the thing that the cool kids are all saying now is country's coming back. Buy some boots and get a hat. Play a little Chattahoochee, man, some boots, scootin' boogie. Well, you better learn to step, 'cause country's coming back. Man, it's hard not to laugh when they say country's coming back. Well, I never even knew it left. I got my Wranglers, I got my Pearl Snap. Man, I've been rocking this look since a way back. I seen George Strait, I got the box set. It's still my Friday night get right soundtrack. That's how I roll, my way of life. Welcome to the party, I'm in here the whole time. Yeah, country's coming back. Buy some boots and get a hat. Play a little Chattahoochee, man, some boots, boogie, won't you better learn to step. Yeah, country's coming back. Man, it's hard not to laugh when they say country's coming back. 'Cause I never even knew where to live. Man, I was country when it was, and I was country when it wasn't. Take a look down the road, man, you ought to see what's coming. 'Cause country's coming back. Country's coming back. I can boots and get a hat. Play a little Chattahoochee, man, some boots, scootin' boogie. Well, you better learn to step. Boy, country's coming back. Man, it's hard not to laugh when they say country's coming back. 'Cause I never even knew where to live. Yeah, point, if at any point tonight I sounded ungrateful, you read me wrong. I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed to have the job that I got. Nothing, doesn't matter who you talk to, nothing goes like you think it's gonna go. And I think if I talked to 18-year-old me, told him how it all turned out, he'd be like, what? You are kidding me. And we still got a lot of gas in the tank, y'all. Thanks for being along for the ride. Have a great night. Be safe. I love you. I really do. I love you. Woo! Peace and love, y'all.